we have discussed about Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so Delhi was not an important center during the older time. It was under the Tomara Rajputs. They first made Delhi as their capital, and Angapala III, okay, was the ruler of Chauhan, Tomara dynasty, who made Delhi first as his capital. Okay, after then the Tomaras were defeated by the Chauhans or the Chahamanas. So under these Rajput dynasty, Delhi grows to be an important business center. Okay, then it became a capital who controlled the vast areas of the Indian subcontinent. It was under the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, it was under the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so we have seen that India was under the control of the Delhi Sultanate or Delhi Sultans, okay, for a long period of time. And there were total 5 dynasties who ruled over Delhi, okay, which made Delhi as their capital. And also we have seen the slave dynasty or the Mamluk dynasty. It was followed by Khalji dynasty, then
Tughlaq
dynasty, and the Lodi dynasty. Okay, and Lodi dynasty, I have told you children, Ibrahim Lodi, he was the last ruler from the Lodi dynasty, and he was being defeated by Babur, okay, and who founded the, remember, Mughal Empire. Okay, Mughal dynasty or Mughal Empire. So that marks the end of Delhi Sultanate in Indian history. Okay, and who was the founder of this slave dynasty?
Qutbuddin Aibak.
Okay, he was the founder of slave dynasty. He who himself was a slave. Okay, he was a slave of Muhammad Ghori, and he was very generous. Okay, and he was followed by his own son, but his son was being defeated by his son-in-law. That was Shamsuddin Iltutmish. Okay, he became the 3rd ruler, and he also introduced many administrative reforms, and he was followed by his own daughter. Okay, what was the name?
Razia Sultan.
Okay, and I have told you children, even though Iltutmish, okay, he had 4 sons, okay, but Razia was capable and she was very efficient. Okay, so he made her as the ruler. Okay, she was the first woman Muslim ruler who ruled over Delhi. Okay, then after Razia Sultana, the greatest ruler, okay, of this dynasty was Ghiyasuddin Balban. Okay, and he tried to expand his kingdom. He started to conquer many territories. Okay, many territories he made under his control, and he was followed by Koikabad. Its name is not given. He was not so great at all, and he was defeated by
Jalaluddin Firuz
Khalji. Okay, who founded the Khalji dynasty. Okay, Khalji dynasty. And there were 2 great rulers from this Khalji dynasty who ruled over Delhi, and it was Jalaluddin Khalji and Alauddin Khalji. Okay, Alauddin Khalji. We will study in detail about Alauddin Khalji. Okay, in the same chapter, we will study in detail because he introduced many reforms and he made his kingdom. He made his kingdom many areas. Okay, he made under his control. And he also he introduced many administrative reforms, which was very effective. Okay, so after Alauddin Khalji, the rulers were not so efficient. Okay, and so that came to other invasion or the other dynasty or the Qasim Malik. Okay, the Punjab governor, he controlled or he conquered Delhi, and he assumed the title. What was the title assumed by this Qasim Malik?
Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq.
Tughlaq. Okay, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, who founded the Tughlaq dynasty. Okay, Tughlaq dynasty. And there were great rulers. Okay, who were the other great rulers of this Tughlaq dynasty? Muhammad bin Tughlaq, yes. Yes, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firaz Shah Tughlaq. Okay, you know, children, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Okay, he was known as a mad king or a wise fool. Okay, why he is being called so? Do we have discussed that?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, we haven't discussed Tughlaq dynasty.
Okay, sorry, children. I was because you know your class, other two classes it was complete. Okay, so these all points are clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay, children. So these three dynasties, that is slave dynasty, Khalji, and Tughlaq dynasty. Okay, under these dynasties, Delhi was grown to an important commercial center. Trade was flourished during this time, and it was a capital. Okay, it was a capital which controlled vast areas of the Indian subcontinent. That means Ghiyasuddin Balban, Alauddin Khalji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Okay, they all controlled. They all tried to expand their territories, and also they had built many cities. Please note down the names, children. Jallikhuna. Here you can see it here in the map. Jallikhuna, Siri, and Jahanpana. Okay, was the cities which were built under these three dynasties. Okay, that means they have started to build many cities. Delhi was grown to be an important commercial center under these three dynasties as well. Okay, so what were the name of the cities which were made or built by these rulers of these three dynasties?
Jallikhuna, Siri,
and
and
Jahanpana.
Jahan.
Okay, Jahanpana, you need to study the spellings and also, you know, I know it's a bit tough, but you should remember the spelling. Okay, so here you can see Jallikhuna, Jahanpana, and Siri. Okay, the cities which were built by these rulers of these three dynasties. And Tughlaq dynasty. Yes. Wait. You know, children, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Okay, he is the founder of the Tughlaq dynasty. His real name was Qasim Malik, and he assumed the title as Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, and he founded the Tughlaq dynasty, who ruled over Delhi for a period. Okay, for a long time. And Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, okay, he was described as a mad king or a wise fool. You know, children, he was very wise. Okay, that means he made or he brought many administrative reforms. He introduced many great reforms in his country. But you know, children, all these reforms which was made by this Tughlaq, okay, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, it was not he could not able to execute it properly. His decisions were good. Okay, but you know, children, if it took an important decision, we needed to execute it properly, isn't it, children? Just think
Yes,
about
ma'am.
a program. Okay, a program in our classroom. Just think about your class party. Okay, think about your class party. We will before our class party, we will try to we will make the students divide into many groups, and they will be welcome groups are the reception group, then serving group, isn't it, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we will divide them into group and we will give many works to them, and after then we need to execute it. They have to do their works properly, isn't it, children?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, but here, you know, children, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he was a wise man and he took many administrative reforms as well. Okay, but you know, children, even though his reforms were very good, but he could not able to execute it effectively among the people. Okay, that we will discuss later. What are the policies introduced by Muhammad bin Tughlaq and how he executed it, and what are the confusions or the problems created by his decisions. Okay, that we will discuss later. So that he was known as a mad king or wise fool. Still now, here, children, when we, if it means, if any ruler of in an important person, if he is taking such a foolish decision, sometimes the people will just mock him as, തുക്ലക്കിന്റെ പരിഷ്കാരം പോലെ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് പറയും. Okay, because the decisions which were taken by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, it was good. Okay, and it was wise, but he was not able to execute it properly. So it created many confusions, problems here in our country. Okay, so that he was known as a mad king or a wise fool. Okay, and he was succeeded by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Okay, and he was died in 1388. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, he died in 1388. And after Firoz Shah Tughlaq, the successors of this Tughlaq dynasty was not at all effective. Okay, were not at all efficient and capable. So the Tughlaq dynasty was entered with the invasion of the Mongol ruler. Mongol, children, it is a particular tribe, okay, people of Uzbekistan, who were the rulers of these people were known as Mongols. Okay, and so the Mongol ruler Timur, okay, Timur invaded Delhi and captured power from the Tughlaq. Okay, from the Tughlaq dynasty. So that marks the end of the rule of the Tughlaq dynasty. Okay, so there were three greatest rulers of this Tughlaq dynasty. It was founded by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Okay, he was the Punjab governor, and his name was Ghazi Malik, and he assumed the title as Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Okay, who founded the Tughlaq dynasty, and he was succeeded by Muhammad Tughlaq. Children, the empire, okay, the Delhi Sultanate reached its farthest extent. Okay, extent, that means the area under the control of this Europeans, sorry, not Europeans, sorry children, the area which were under the control of the Delhi Sultanate, it reached to its farthest extent. That means he conquered many of the neighboring territories. Okay, many of the territories was under the control of the Delhi Sultanate under the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Okay, so he was very wise man. He took or he brought many administrative reforms, but there was a problem. He could not make it work effectively among the people. Okay, the many policies which was adopted by Muhammad Tughlaq, it created many confusion among the people, so that he was known as a mad king or a wise fool. Clear, children? Is the point is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And after Muhammad Tughlaq, he was succeeded by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He died in 1388, and the successors were not effective, or they were not capable to hold the administration. So that came to the end of, okay, it came to the end of Tughlaq dynasty, which was controlled by the Mongol ruler, not Mughal, Mongol ruler Timur. Okay, children, these three dynasties were so important. That means it was under these three dynasties, the Slave dynasty, Khalji dynasty, and Tughlaq dynasty, Delhi was grown to be an important rich commercial center. Okay, it had its own prominence as we do it at present. Okay, so this all is about the dynasties. Okay, so the 5 dynasties who made Delhi as capital, who tried to, the rulers of these 5 dynasties who tried to expand their power over the neighboring territories, and who made Delhi a prominent capital, okay, prominent place that controlled the vast areas of the subcontinent, Indian subcontinent. It was during this period. Okay, so that period is referred as Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so which were the most important dynasties of Delhi Sultanate? Slave dynasty,
Mamluk dynasty.
Khalji dynasty, and the
Khalji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty.
okay. Then after then, children, Said dynasty. After Timur, this was under the Said. Okay, Said dynasty. Gisar Khan. Okay, was the important ruler of this one. And after then, it was followed by Lodi dynasty. Bahlul Lodi's name is given in the textbook. He was a great ruler, but Bahlul Lodi was followed by Ibrahim Lodi. Okay, Ibrahim Lodi. So that marks the end of Delhi Sultanate. When the Mughals, when they established their power, it marks the end of Delhi Sultanate, and it was started. Okay, the beginning of the another ruling power based on Muslim dynasty. Okay, that was Mughal people. Okay, children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, children, we were getting many sources of information to know about the past. Okay, historians are finding out history from all these sources. Okay, which are the sources?
Ma'am, do we have to write this?
Sorry,
Do we have to write this?
it's there in the textbook. You can mark it. Either you can write or you can mark.
In which page number?
Page number 32.
Yes, Ihan. Page number 32. Okay, so children, we know about the sources, okay, which are providing information about the past. Okay, so we have studied from the first chapter what are sources. Okay, I mean inscriptions, manuscripts, coins, monuments. Okay, the remains of the monuments. All these are providing a lot of information to the historians to connect history, isn't it, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so one such particular source of information about the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, we were getting information about the Sultanate, like Prasasti. We have discussed about the Prasastis, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So this was okay. One particular source of information about the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, is available from the Tariq. Okay, like Prashasti, it's a special type of information, written source of information about the Delhi Sultans. Okay, what are the achievements of the Delhi Sultans and how do the people lived under the Delhi Sultans? Okay, so these all informations are available from a particular source of information that is called Tariq or Tawarik. Tariq, it's a singular word. Tawarik, it's a plural word. And it's an Arabic word. Okay, Tariq, the term Tariq, it's an Arabic word. Its meaning it is history. Okay, then this Tariq and Tawarik, okay, all these were written in Persian language. Okay, it was written in Persian language because, children, the language of administration was, what was the language of administration under the Delhi Sultanate?
Persian.
Persian.
Most of these rulers, they were from Persia and Central Asia, okay, who came to establish their power over India. Okay, so, children, so the language of administration under the Delhi Sultanate, it was Persian. Okay, so this Tariq or Tawarik, okay, it was written in Persian. The term Tariq, it is an Arabic word. Okay, what is the meaning of the term Tariq?
History. History.
Okay, history. Okay, here you can see an example. Can you see this, children? It's
Yes, ma'am.
Tariq. Okay, it's an example for the Tariq. This was written in Persian language, which gives information about the life of the people or about the Delhi Sultanates. Okay, the real administrative policies of this Delhi Sultans, and also about the information related to the life of the people as well. Okay, so children, what are sources? What are sources?
Sources are information
give
that is found in the past.
Anything that gives
About the
historians.
past. Okay, so there were many types of sources are there. That means inscriptions, manuscripts. Okay, so Tariq or Tawarik, it is a particular source of information about the Delhi Sultans. Okay, so we were getting much information about the Delhi Sultans from this Tariq or Tawarik. Is it clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, like Prashasti. Okay, and Tariq, it is an Arabic word. What is the meaning of the term Tariq?
History.
History. Okay, and it was written in which language?
Persian.
Persian.
Okay, don't be confused with that. The term Tariq, it is an Arabic word which means history, but the informations were written in Persian language. Okay, the informations were written in Persian language because you know the language of administration under the Delhi Sultans it was in Persian. Okay, because
Persian.
they used Persian language in most of the administrative matters. Okay, but like Prasasti, there were many. Sorry. Let me define this. So, how do this? And you know, children, the authors of this Tariq and Tawarik were learned men, poets, secretaries. That means those who were well known to use the language. Okay, courtiers, administrators. Please mark the sentence in the textbook, children, page number 32. The authors of Tawarik were learned men, secretaries, administrators, poets, and courtiers. Okay, who both recounted the events and advised the rulers on governance. Okay, let me clear that. First, you underline the name, means these people, means who wrote all these, you know, children, there were poets, were the learned men, secretaries, courtiers, those who were very means close to the king or the ruler or the sultan. Okay, so they have written these source of informations. And how do they made all these things, you know, this Tariq? There were 4 steps were there. First, you can see the first steps, preparing the paper. Okay, they were preparing the paper to write all this information. The second step, you know, children, writing the test. Okay, they will write in this paper. Okay, then the third step, you know, children, we will use highlighter, isn't it, children? Why we were using highlighter?
To highlight important
points.
certain points.
Important words and
Sentences.
passages as well. Okay, but you know, children, these people, how do they highlighted the important words and passages? You know, they'll melt the gold. Okay, and it will pour into that letters or into that passages as well. Okay, which passage they wanted to highlight or which they wanted to showcase. Okay, they melt the gold and they will pour into this passage or the letters. Okay, and the fourth step, preparing the binding. What do you mean by binding? Keep tied together. Yeah, set it
Keeping
together,
them
page
together.
by page. Yes. Okay. So our textbook, it is in a binded form, right? All pages are set in order the same way. Okay. So these people, they have prepared. So the authors of the Tawarik, okay, they were learned men, poets, secretaries, courtiers. Okay. So these were the authors of this Tariq and Tawarik. And there were 4 steps in the making of these type of special type of manuscripts. First one, preparing the paper. The second step, yes.
Writing the text.
Write
Writing
the
the
text.
text.
The
Melting
third
gold
step,
to highlight
Melting
melt
gold
the
to
gold
highlight
to
important
highlight
words.
the important passages. And the fourth step,
Preparing
Preparing
the
the binding.
okay, but you know, children, like this Prashasti, there were many problems. Okay, there were many problems about this Tariq or the Tawarik. Okay, let me clear it, children. The first point, you know, children, most of those authors of this Tawarik, okay, they lived in cities. Okay, when we discussed about, the health facilities, we have seen that most of the doctors, they prefer to settle in
Urban areas.
urban areas.
Urban
Okay.
areas.
So what will be the problems for the village people?
They will have to travel
They
far
will
distance to
have
reach
to
a
travel
qualified
Yeah,
a
village
doctor.
mile of
areas we
distance.
could not able to see an efficient ruler or a specialized doctor. If they want to consult, they need to travel for long distances. Okay, here, children, most of these authors of this Tavarik, they lived in cities. Okay, so we are not getting any information related to the life of the ordinary people or the village people. Okay, so how do the village people they have lived, okay, under the Delhi Sultanates, or what was their occupation, and how do they means what was their other activities? So all these informations, it was untold by this Tawarik or Tariq. Okay, that means we are not getting any information related to the life of the ordinary people, or the village people. Is the first point is clear, children?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that means most of the authors of this Tariq or Tawarik, they prefer to settle in cities. Okay, so they don't have written anything about the life of the ordinary people. Okay, how was the life under the Delhi Sultanate? It was even untold by the authors of Tariq or Tawarik. Okay, the second point, children, like Prashasti. Okay, they have wrote the histories of these sultan. They were expecting if the king is happy, children, they'll be gifted with rewards like gold coins, something like that. Okay, so they were expecting huge rewards. So naturally, what they will do?
They will make king happy.
How do they make a king happy?
Making
They
by making this
exaggerate
praising.
They will
things.
exaggerate the real things means about the king. Children, they will praise the king, isn't it? And what they will do, they will hide the real things, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that means if they wanted to make the king happy, children, they need to exaggerate about the king, about the activities of the king, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they will hide the real things and they will write histories by expecting huge reward from the king. So they will highlight the king, or they will exaggerate the activities of the king, and they will really hide the real things which were happened during the Delhi Sultanate. So we can't trust fully or blindly this Tariq, but still the historians are referring these Tariqs to get information about the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, so there were many problems. What was the first problem? Mainly they lived in cities. Look at the authors of Tariq, they lived in cities. So the life of the ordinary people has not even told by the authors. Okay, or we are not getting any information from this Tariq or Tawarik. The second problem, they exaggerated. Okay, sometimes when they have written about the Delhi Sultan or the rulers, okay, they will exaggerate the king's activities, and naturally they will hide the real things which were happening during that time. Okay, and also, children, these people, these were learned people. I have told you they were learned men, administrators, courtiers. Okay, these all people has written this particular source of information. And these people, they advised rulers to keep a ideal social order based on birthright and gender distinction. I have told you, children, during that time, gender distinction was existed. What do you mean by gender distinction?
Difference of genders.
Yeah, men and women who were considered as superior.
The men was
Men.
considered
Yeah.
Considered as powerful.
Superior, and women were regarded as inferior. Isn't that, children? Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
these people advise the ruler to emphasize or to keep an ideal social order. What was the social order prevalent that time? Based on, okay, the society was based on gender distinction. They were not given any importance for women during that time. Okay, and men, because of their social and biological differences, men are masculine, very strong. Okay, so they were regarded as superheroes, and women were regarded, or they were regarded as an inferior people. Okay, so and also birthright. Birthright, you know, children, by birth, if I belongs to a noble family. Okay, wait. Let me complete this point. Birthright, you know, children, by birth. Okay, by birth, if I belongs to a noble family, I can enjoy some privileges. Okay, okay. So the authors, they advise the rulers. You know, children, I have to mention about Russia over here. Russia, she was an able ruler. She was an efficient ruler. I have told you, even though they were brothers, okay, she had brothers, but the king or the ruler, that Sultan Iltutmish, he made Russia as the ruler, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because he thought she's
Yes,
very
ma'am.
able, but you know, children, the people during that time, they were not even like to be ruled by a woman. So she was dispossessed from her possession. Okay, from her position. And Minhaj is Raj. Do you remember about Minhaj is Raj?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
you know who is Minhaj is Raj? First chapter we have discussed about him.
A geographer.
And also, yes, he was
And a
chronicler, isn't
cartographer.
it? Yes. Yes, chronicler who wrote about, you know, and he has written about Russia